Okay. Now, BBA meeting for March will come to order. And do we need one of these?
I did.
Do you need to sign
Let me start out with some sad news. Many of you may have known Dale Carey, who's been a member of the club for more than 20 years. I've been in the club for 24 years, and he was the first one I met. He was the vice president at the time, so he's probably been here since the club was in. He passed away a couple days ago. I didn't even know he was sick, but Kent Blackwell told me yesterday that about 2 weeks ago, Dale wasn't feeling well. He had stomach pains. He went to the doctor. Doctor diagnosed terminal cancer, gave him 4 to 6 weeks to live. And he died 2 weeks later. Wow. So I've been in touch with his wife, Connie, and if anybody has any pictures of Dale, send them to me, to my email, pathfinder027@yahoo.com. I'll write that on the board, and I will get those to Connie. Bill?
Was it pancreatic cancer by any chance?
I don't know what kind
It
of
was
cancer
stomach.
it was.
Stomach.
It was stomach cancer. Okay. All right. So
Sign-in sheet.
everybody sign in? Let's have a moment of silence in honor of Dale Carey. Amen. Well, let's go on into our regular reports. Start off with our vice president and the schedule.
Thank you, George. Okay. We can't figure out how to get the camera to work in this room, but there is one up here, but I'm using the webcam. I can't show it to you because I'm on it. But trust me, we've got a webcam here now. And we can take it to any room we need. All right, I want to start out a little different today and give you guys some astronomical news. How about that? All right, did I share it? Yeah, is everybody seeing the astronomical news, right? Mm-hmm. All right, the bad news for the astronomers is March 10th is Eastern Daylight Time. I guess that's a Sunday.
Ooh.
I know, that means the sun, the sun is going to set an hour later, and now we have to go to events after 8 o'clock instead. So it's elementary school is going to be bad. All right, the next event thing is the Devil's Comet. 12 P Pons Brooks periodic 71 years. It's currently in Andromeda and rising. March 10th, I did some planetarium research here. From our vantage point, it's close to M31 by 7 degrees on March 10th. March 22nd, it's pretty close to M33, so may be able to have a photographic opportunity if you have a field wider than 3 degrees. Comet's perihelion, does everybody know what that is, the perihelion? The closest point to the sun is April 21st, and the April 8th eclipse, I understand we're possibly going to get a view of that during the eclipse. So that would be kind of cool.
Do you know the magnitude?
Magnitude right now is about 7. I don't know what it's going to be then. So it had a big outburst, and that's why they call it the Devil's Comet. It had a big outburst and went back down. So I don't know. Jupiter moon in conjunction, a crescent moon around 8 o'clock on the 13th. So that's going to be a pretty good sight. Venus Saturn's pretty close. I think, or maybe it's Jupiter moon. One of these is pretty close together. And that's 8 p.m. These are 7 a.m. right before sunrise for Venus, Saturn on the 21st. Mercury, greatest eastern elongation, so we're going to get to see Mercury. It's up 18.7 degrees from the sun. And a penumbral eclipse at the end of this month on the 25th. And has anybody ever seen a penumbral eclipse? I've never seen one because it's so smudgy that there's not much shadow that covers the moon. So I thought I'd try recording it before and in the middle and after so we can see what it looks like in a camera. It's supposed to be the bottom half, the bottom portion of the moon gets a little dark. So it's not a big deal, but that's going to be on my list.
Phone's ringing, but I don't care.
I'm also going to try for the Solar Eclipse Astronomical League award. It's pretty hard this year because you got to know a lot about the Soros cycle, and you have to document at least 6 months worth of moon positions. Well, they're claiming 4 every month for 6 months. That's 24 pictures minimum, or not pictures, but drawings of the moon and stars nearby. And that's supposed to help you figure out the Soros cycle. But man, I can't figure it out just from 2 or 3. So I'll get smart on that pretty soon. I'll give you some more information later. But next club meeting, incidentally, I won't be here. I'll be on the road going for the eclipse. All right, so that's the exciting stuff. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, I'll stop sharing that one, and I'll share my other screen if I can find it. I think it's this one. Okay, I just for information, if there's any events extra, I'll put it on here on the Night Sky Network. Let me move this up so you can see it. On the Night Sky Network for our club meeting, as you can see. And I'll put it on the bottom, very bottom, it says Astronomy Events March. It's a document, you can download the document, okay? And I know George didn't say much about the move, but we're in JA 15, because it's so crowded in here. That's a sarcasm. There's nobody here, nobody. So I don't know why we can't get the other room, but I don't want to make a nuisance of myself, okay? All right, here's the events for March. We got club meeting today, Corn Watch tomorrow, Night Watch the 9th and 10th. And pretty soon they're going to have daylight time in there, and you can see some of these things going to affect it. Garden stars at 8 o'clock on the 14th. Stargazing at Fort Story Friday on the 15th. Eclipse at Churchland Library. It just features, it's not the eclipse, but it's a talk on the eclipse. And I was going to do it, and I wish we could get enough people to support it, but it is kind of hard for some people to go. But if you can go Saturday for the eclipse presentation that I'm going to give at Churchland Library. Saturday, Sunday is the 30th. And then the month of April coming up, and that's pretty busy too. Astronomy 101, Astronomy 101 on the 3rd. Last Astronomy 101 was terrible. I don't want to get into it now, but we're all crying because there's no stars. Statewide.
It wasn't terrible. I thought we had a great presentation.
The presentation was outstanding.
Good.
The presentation was outstanding. Okay, that's right. I shouldn't be negative. So we got 2 things going on Saturday, 3 p.m. statewide star party, Dismal Swamp, and a beginner camp out sky watch at 6:30. So hopefully we'll get some support from you guys for that. Newport News eclipse of 2024 is on the 8th. I've got that set up, and I think Sam are going to take care of it. Sam Bartholomew is our other solar eclipse partner, ambassador partner, and she and I we're supposed to be the experts, right? And we've got Astro 101 at 7:30 on the 11th. That's Astronomy 101 again. had that. Oh, this is a different astronomy 101 Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a different one. I gotta look.
this is in April.
Yeah, I know. Is this the one at Kempsville?
They're
Oh,
all
that's
Kempsville.
JEB Little Creek.
Oh, this is the one,
Yeah.
oh, that's right.
JEB Little Creek's on the 3rd.
That's
So
right.
there's
They
two
called, they called it the astronomy one.
Right, yeah, that's what they call it, so it's confusing for us. Okay,
Confusing.
and then we got Saturday, Sunday, Garden Stars, Tidewater Mask for Naturalist thing on the 17th. So that's as far as I'll go. Then we got some STEAM things going on. The 6 p.m. is gonna be way early for STEAM, and I already warned the schools. And I like to sign up for the school things especially, because they're during the week and you guys can't attend during the week so much, but it's easy for me because I'm retired. Okay, but anyway, STEAM night, I told the principals and the people that are involved that we can maybe see the sun at 6 o'clock p.m. But they're not gonna get any stargazing because I think they quit at about 7:30. Okay, any questions at all for me?
I don't know if I missed it, sorry I was late, but, did we verify with the Newport News Library they're ready for possible thousands?
I didn't warn them.
Because I think that's what's gonna happen, like we had at the Central Library, in 2017,
Once they found out.
yeah, but they had thousands show up,
So
but
we'll give Sam a batch of solar glasses to sell for $1 a piece. We have
I'm
those.
not gonna be the only one there, right?
No, I hope not.
Cause I still feel kinda unprepared and super nervous.
All right, well,
That's rolling.
yeah, maybe Roland can fix this up. Hey, Roland, can you support that? At Newport News on the 8th, you can?
it's like, no.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see if we can beat the bushes some more. But out of 140 something club members, we ought to be able to get more than just 2 or 3 people to do it.
The timing, yeah, the timing,
Okay.
that's the problem. Did you cover that, Star Wars thing?
No,
Are you going to?
I forgot. Yeah, I better talk about it. In April, let me go back to it.
I think it's in May.
Yeah, it's in May.
May the 4th,
Yes.
be with you.
May the 4th be with you on Saturday, the 4th of May. And also in May, the 14th, we have Boardwalk Astronomy 101. So we got all our boardwalks are scheduled for the year, and this makes a total of 5 times 250 is $1,250. $1,250 for our scholarship.
Well, actually, with the May the 4th, that's 6 then, right?
No, it's 5 counting that.
No, it's 6 counting that.
It's 6 counting that. That's right. Yes.
I saw on there that we were gonna sell shirts at the boardwalk.
Yeah, and I put the word out because they gave us an idea.
That's under new business.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay,
It was a good idea. Why don't we sell shirts? Oh, that's cool. So we tempted you guys, so I'm gonna turn this off and let George take over.
So you don't need it.
If you wanna come up. you
Okay,
gotta
I've
get
got
comfortable.
some pins to give out if somebody's here to get them. Dave Reed, I got a 2022 pin for you for observing. There you go. It's got an image of the Webb Space Telescope.
I'll have you guys know, David drove from Ohio to get that pin.
Okay, now, let me ask, is James Green here? All right, how about Justin Campbell, Jonathan Longman, James Sorensen? James Sorensen, okay, you get a pin for 2022, and it's an image of the annular eclipse. Which is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Hey, how about Brian Morgan? And I think everybody else here has got their pin. Henry Neath, he's not here. All right. Okay. These pins are, Sean ordered these, but these are from the Night Sky Network, Astronomical League, pins for observing or for participating in outreach events.
Yeah, so please, make sure you guys log your Night Sky Network event, that's how people got the pin. You volunteer at an event, the end of next year, they'll also give us another pin. If you forgot to do it, let us know and log it down so we can get your pin. We did get some extras. In case someone forgot.
And I've got a long list of people who I haven't seen for 2 years. I've got their pin to give them. Okay. So let's go on to our next report, our secretary's report.
I motion we dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I'll second it. It has been moved is there a second?
Second it?
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to dispense with the reading of the minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, dispense. Thanks. Okay, now we have the treasurer's report. Rich, we're not going to dispense with that.
Oh, we're not going to dispense with it? All right. All right, you seeing it?
Wow.
All right, so we currently have quite a bit of money, $12,686. That was an increase of $716 over the previous month. This is probably our high point because, during December, January, then into February, we have everyone renewing. So we get all the dues in up front. And now we're going to start paying stuff out. So it should go down from here, but still we're in a very healthy position. One of the things, since I know it's going to come up today, I think I've talked about this before, but I'll bring it up again. One of the reasons we have quite a bit of money, that $12,000 is all the money in all of our accounts. We kind of segregate stuff into our general fund, which is just the business of the club, and then we have 2 scholarships. If you look at primary scholarship, there's $3,400 in primary scholarship, and this is abnormally high. And the reason this is normally high is for years it was abnormally low because we brought up Boardwalk Astronomy. Before, that is how we fund our primary scholarship for the most part. For those who don't know, for years, each one of these events that we go to, there's a group that's contracted with the city that would pay us $250 for each event that we did. And it would be 3 or 4, some get rained out. Now after COVID, we didn't have any in 2020, and then in 21 and in 22, we did 3 events each of those years, but we did not get paid by these companies when we were supposed to. And after dogging them for 2 years, I got the checks from those years that were in arrears, and they hit the books last year. So we had a windfall there. On top of, we used to split the money for each Boardwalk Astronomy. This group paid $250 to us, $250 to the Virginia Beach Schools Planetarium. Well, last year the school planetarium said we're not going to do a scholarship this year. And so we said, when I went back to the group and said, hey, can we have 500? Can just give us the entire $500? And we did 4. So we got $2,000 out of them, which was, normally we would get $750 to $1,000 out of them per year. So those factors drive up the scholarship to being abnormally high. In the lean years where we weren't getting these checks and the scholarship was kind of floated by a few members who were writing to keep it alive. And then Georgie June is about where it should be. We fund that through the Georgie June. We have the raffle, like with the telescopes, so we sell tickets and we make up money there. That funds most of the scholarship, but not all. But Georgie June's family writes a check to the club, about $250 every year, to help support and keep that scholarship going. So financially we're at a good spot. We're at the high point. Checks are going to start going out now for all the club, all the club business, like insurance, come next year or next month, and then AL dues is a big one. We also have collected money for, another reason is it's a little higher than normal is East Coast Star Party is out there. People, have started to put money in there. So we've brought in $650 so far. That's all on the club's book, and we've paid out some things, but well, just bought red flashlights, and that's about it. That is it on the money side. Coming with February, that's also I spend February harassing all the people who have not, who are delinquent in their dues. And then we have the great purge of people who just don't want to renew and be part of our awesome group anymore. It was pretty light. We had 38 people that got canned. So that's actually below historic norms. Our attrition rate was surprisingly low compared to other years. And so now we sit at 172 members on the roster, which is that's a lot. I remember when I first joined the club, every time the purge would happen, we're like, we get above 100, and then the purge would happen. We're like, oh, now we're down at 70, we're down at 80, we're not over 100, but yeah, we were over 200. The high point was 211 last year, and so now we're down to 102. And actually, someone joined today. I still have to process. So that. I talked a lot. That's the treasurer's report. If you have any questions or want some clarifications, let me know.
I have something to add. Did Rich know about the 500 does not have anymore?
That's under new business.
Okay.
What was that?
We'll talk about that in new business.
A question to either Richard or Sean, is the Boardwalk Astronomy funding coming back to the club weather dependent?
New business. We'll talk about that in new business.
There's some
It is
new
weather
things.
dependent. Yes, it is weather
It is
dependent.
weather dependent.
If we don't
Yeah.
have it dependent, we don't get paid for it.
If we don't.
Right. Yeah, so it was never a guaranteed amount it depended on how many we did. So last year we did 4. The years before that we got paid for 3. Because I think 5 or 6 get scheduled every year, but we never get that many in. So it's
Even when it rained, we showed up for it and we got paid.
That's what they're gonna cover at the new business apparently, but.
Okay. All right. Treasurer's report, any more questions? Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I move that we motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Okay, do we have second?
Second.
Second has been moved and seconded. We have all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Treasurer's report is accepted and read. Okay, now it's time for the Alcor report. Our astronomical league correspondent, Bruce Powers, happens to be at the Stanton River Star Party right now. And I think this was the first night that had clear sky. Here is the AL Alcor report, and he calls it the AL ECSP report. Chipokes Plantation State Park site visit with the new park ranger, which is the 3rd one since we've started with Chipokes, will be held on March 23rd at Chipokes Chipokes used to be called Plantation. They dropped the plantation part, so it's now called Chipokes State Park. I still want to say plantation. Anyway, there'll be a site visit on the 23rd of March at Chipokes State Park Visitor Center, 11 a.m. And we'll go over setup details for May 9th through 12th East Coast Star Party. And ECSP committee members need to attend. That includes George, that's me, Sean, Bruce Powers, Rich Roberts, and Jeremy Mitchell. Bruce says he plans on attending the May ECSP, or plans on ordering the May ECSP raffle prizes in late March, once he returns from the Stanton River Star Party. He says, I already have 8 good astronomy books scooped up from used bookstores locally. And he says, please advise how much I can spend. I thought we covered this at another previous meeting.
I thought we did too. We decided to raise the limit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he said in September, I've spent 450, maybe 650 this time. I don't want to deal with the club credit card hassle like I did on September 23rd, so I'll just charge my own card and get Rich to reimburse me like he did last time.
Sure, checks in the mail.
That works.
Let's get right on that.
Checks in the mail. Navy Lieutenant Jeremy Mitchell, from his work, has had some great ideas on promoting more beginner level astronomical league programs. So we will have some inputs for those on 7 March. So Jeremy, do you have some input?
I can.
All right.
Good evening, folks. Jeremy Mitchell, one of Bruce's coworkers, and his standby in case of things like this. I just wanted to, Bruce and I were discussing the Astronomical League, which is the source for the great pins that have already been handed out this evening. And a great opportunity if you're not sure what exactly it is that you want to go looking for out in the night sky. There's for younger folks, it's achievements. For others, it's completionism. What all neat things there are to see in the sky, how to go about seeing it. The Astronomical League website, which I don't have pulled up because we were dealing with the kerfuffle of not being sure what room we were in this evening. But the Astronomical League website, which we'll put a link to in the Facebook group, and you can link to off of the club website, has a big long list of all the things that you can observe. This time of year, there's a lot of good things to start getting into, especially if on those rare occasions we have clear skies in spring and tidewater. We're coming into the time of year that a Messier Marathon is even possible if you feel daring, have good clear skies in these right times. But there's approximately 100 different observing programs if you look at the different levels and awards, some of which are very beginner level, some of which are a little bit more challenging. If you go into the individual details, it will tell you what you're looking at, what the requirements for it are, as well as some recommendations like, can you use a remote telescope? Can you use night vision goggles? What size viewing device should you use? Some of them can be done with a 25mm set of binoculars, others require a 12.5-inch telescope. But a lot of great things and a lot of good options. I'm putting together something in Google Sheets that I'll share with the club once it's done that allows you to sort by what type of device you're using, what you're looking for, and what difficulty level. As it stands right now, there is a PDF version of something along those lines that talks about, based on difficulty level and what type of equipment you want to use, which programs are open to you. It's not the most useful thing just yet, but we'll see what we can do to get that. But again, lots of great options and a good time to go find something new to look at. Yes, ma'am.
If I'm not on Facebook, are the links also on our website?
The Astronomical League is right on the homepage. There's like 3 circles of logos.
So it'll
and that's
tell
one
us
of them.
everything that's going on.
No, like right at the very top, it's a big logo. Not the NASA Night Sky Network is one logo. Our logo's there, and Astronomical League's level.
Okay.
I'll offer that link to you if you want to, if you think it's worth including on the website for the Google Sheet to help you sift through it. It also has the links to those. Now that said, there is a caveat that when you submit all of your information, it tells you what you need to submit, but you will need to make sure that what you have is adequate. As Bruce has been lamenting for months, he has been attempting to get the globular clusters observing program, which is an intermediate level of difficulty. He finished approximately half of them at the East Coast Star Party in a bit of a rush. The director for that particular program found his, and I'm quoting Bruce here, not speaking of him, he found that Bruce's descriptions were suboptimal. Bruce and I have been working on recasting them in the form of a haiku. Sorry. Now, that said, if you are looking for some great ways to make sure your observations ratchet up, there's a fantastic book, Objects in the Heavens, that among many others, this is one that George recommended back in December, and is in fact in the special thanks section for his contributions.
What's that?
Objects in the Heavens.
Oh, yes, I love that book.
Fantastic book. I've tried to get Bruce to get a copy of it because one of the things, it has the book itself as well as the Observer's Companion that has a list of things that you might want to look at, consider in your own observing, or if you're looking for an Astronomical League thing, it gives you a good jumping point of, in the case of, for example, globular clusters, if it's a tight grouping, if it's a bright center, a dark center, what sort of stars are in the vicinity, but things that will jog your memory and give you pause to thought on what you're observing to really appreciate the objects you're looking at more. I realize I just started another topic when in the process of answering your question, but the Astronomical League is linked to off the back Bay Amateur Astronomers. And I believe as members, we're all automatically Astronomical League
Yeah,
members.
it's part of your dues.
Right, part of our dues. So I encourage, Bruce would encourage us all to get as much bling as possible in the form of those pins. 21 pieces of flair, I believe, is the goal.
Sounds like Bruce.
Yeah. Any other questions before I cede the floor to?
Sir, just a comment, all members in good standing get the Astronomical League magazine. There's a lot of good information on the backside about recipients and about the various programs. So it's a great little magazine and very informative on astronomy as well as all the programs and outreach, as well as bling that they sell. So very, very good. You'll be getting that in the mail.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was the Alphamore report. Do we have a report from the, well, before we do that, Michael Russo, where are you? And Jonathan Longman. I've got pins for you, observing award pins for your outreach during 2023. Do we have a report from the scholarship chairman?
Just the scholarships out there, they're back due to us for May. Do we have new members here tonight? I'm not sure. New members? Everybody pretty much know, okay.
I'm not new, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right, well, real quick summary. Okay. Yes. So in any case, our organization is a corporation. It's a 501(c) education organization, not for profit. So any donations you make or your employer makes or company or matching donations goes to a nonprofit organization, which is tax deductible, federal and state type stuff. So underneath our club, we established back many years ago a scholarship fund, and we established bylaws to support that. And actually, currently we have 2 scholarships. So we have the BBAA Amateur Astronomers General Scholarship, as well as we have a memorial scholarship in the name of Georgie June, which is a long-term member that gave so much outreach and participated heavily with our club. And then sadly, we lost her way too early in life, and she was missed dearly. So we memorialize that with the support of her family that actually helps fund that annually. So that's going to continue on, and it's really a great program, great in memory of her. So the donations that we have come from individuals, corporations, membership dues, as well as tickets. We do the raffles and that kind of stuff. So all that feeds into those 2 scholarships. Some directly, you can direct that when you go on the website to PayPal and direct where you want your contribution to go, to the general fund, to the outreach program, to the Georgia June scholarship, or the general scholarship. So all sorts of various ways to help, and all of it's tax deductible. So so currently right now, we set the scholarship, and then it goes out to the Hampton Roads schools, as well as gets posted up on our website. And we get responses back from students, and incredibly talented. I mean, we rank, just the GPA, the ACT or SAT scores, and also they write a 500-word essay, and then they get the teacher, a science teacher of some sort, to write a letter of endorsement, some type of recommendation. And the essays are just phenomenal. I mean, we got scientific research going on at NASA. We've got all sorts of stuff that they do and discoveries, and it's really, really neat to screen them. And the committee meets after we get them. They're due the first day of May, due in hand or postmark, and then we'll meet and we'll screen all that. And we rank them based on the scoring, which is fully public available on how we score each one. And then we invite the student to come here and actually read their 500-word essay, which is really awesome neat too. And they usually bring either professors or they bring their parents and friends. It's pretty neat thing. It's very rewarding, and we cut them a check. So this year it's $2,000 for the scholarship and $1,500 for the Georgia June scholarship. So
I've got a question. Yeah. When did we increase those amounts?
After the last meeting, when you said take a look at it, we had the extra funds.
Did we have a committee meeting?
The committee was discussed, and we discussed it, yes.
I wasn't there.
Didn't.
I don't remember any committee, but I'll go with it.
Yeah. So we basically put $2,000 and $1,500. There's a little bit of spike. We have extra money, but I think based on talking with the treasurer that we're going to be able to have continuity on that at that level. As you know, things are much more expensive, and there's a lot of scholarships. So all the schools typically have a portal with all the scholarships that nationwide as well as locally. So we're kind of in competition and we don't have a big turnout. So the chance of getting a scholarship for people to apply is very high. We're kind of the low end of the spectrum, but it's pretty honorable for 100+ member scholarship to give out $1,500 or $2,000 is pretty amazing, actually. I'm a member of other boards and other organizations, so a lot bigger than this, and they don't have anywhere near what we have. But overall, there's a lot of scholarship money out there. There really is a boatload of scholarship money out there. So students are actively pursuing them. You can only send so many letters and so many SATs, so many applications. So, we need to keep that at a higher bar to attract that and bring that into the club. And it's pretty neat. So works out pretty good. Any other questions or I understand? So donate heavily. You can use your money. You get your employer to match.
So the word has gone out to the schools and we're just waiting for stuff to come back.
Right after the meeting that, when you brought it up about the extra funds, we sent it out and as well as it's been posted on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, so May 1st or May 2nd is the due date and then we'll screen in the middle of the
Okay, thank you.
That's why you always see us pushing these solar eclipse classes, because this helps fund those scholarships. We took a chance about 5,000 of these for the eclipse.
And we sold last night at Kempsville Rec Center, we sold at least 50 of those.
Well, I think we're gonna sell them all for
And there's not another eclipse for 150 years.
2045 for the US. I know.
33
Been a long time.
How many do you have left now?
I bet we still have over half of them.
I got a lot, yeah. So
I bet we're.
whoever's going someplace out of town for the eclipse, see me before you go and I'll give you a bunch of glasses to sell. Okay. Next is the RRT report, but I'm not gonna worry about that. We'll skip that today. And we're running, our business meeting is running long. I don't like to take this long, but we've got a lot of things covered. We might not even get a feature in. But anyway, first of all, old business. We've got a bunch of apparel items, clothing. And Sean, there's a disconnect because you order them, but I never know who gets what. I need a list of who gets what, because I've got a box of things. I don't know if they're spares or they're designated for somebody.
Well, all the ones that were designated for someone, I put a label on it.
Okay, well, I've got those, but
The
apparently.
rest of them are spares.
So we got a lot of
I'm
stuff.
still waiting on a hat since April. Blue.
Is it in there?
No, I got a blue hat for Robert Schmidt and a gray hat for Roland Downing.
I just ordered one too.
I should have brought it last night, Roland. I forgot.
I still got a couple of them.
When we're done here, Bill, you tell me what you need, and I will make sure it gets ordered. If
Okay.
first I'll check.
See
all our
Sean,
stuff.
see Sean to order it. And then when you order it, give me a list of who ordered what. So when it comes in, and I usually pick it up because I'm not too far from where they go. Okay. Next item, old business, the Nick Anderson Scholarship. We mentioned this last month. I don't think we made a decision exactly, did we? I don't
No,
remember.
we were gonna talk to Chuck Gibbs and see what he was doing.
Okay, did somebody talk to Chuck?
I did.
Yeah, you did, okay,
And he said that we have his blessing, but go for it. He's not doing anything.
okay.
So that's what we talked about doing.
Is it too late to get that in for this year, or should we be better off setting up for next year?
Well, we've already sent the PDF out, so I mean, if you want to just plan on shooting for next year.
I think.
We've already sent out the PDF.
You didn't mention the Nick Anderson Scholarship.
No, because number one, I didn't know about it, so
Yeah.
it wasn't in the minutes.
We will have a committee meeting and discuss how much to add to that.
We could do it this year with the excess.
The issue on that is, and maybe how the treasurer rule in is the funding of that. The reason we added the Georgia June Scholarship Committee to the Scholarship Committee is because we had a commitment from their relatives to support that. And then also, as a club organization, we gotta decide and make the recommendations to the Scholarship Committee is, the bylaws are codified for what we offer right now.
Right.
Adding that and having put in financial consideration to support that in continuity. Also, you're setting a precedence, and the question is, how many people know who Nick Anderson is or was? And then most people don't. And then how long was he a member for? Was he part of outreach? I don't think he was ever an officer of the club. So sad that someone lost their lives, but I mean, George, Jeff, and Sean, you guys give your whole heart and soul to this club, so I think I met Nick one time, so and it's a tough decision, and he took his own life, so tough decision to talk about, but we gotta set a precedence on this and be cognizant of that, and not just say, let's just take on somebody else's scholarship. I don't know how it was funded when it was with Chuck Dibbs.
Well, he used the boardwalk,
We'll talk.
which is another matter we gotta get to. I think you guys should
That's
discuss it at the scholarship committee.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that and we'll put it on the schedule to talk about and maybe possibly add it for next year. I think it's too late to get the word out now. All right. Any
Can
other-
I make a recommendation, whatever you all decide though, the committee, make sure you let Chuck Dibbs know,
Yeah,
so he's not in the dark.
What is his status right now? Where'd he go? What happened?
he is a teacher
Back to
at
teaching.
Plaza Middle School, teaching math.
Is the planetarium shut down?
It shuts
Yes.
down.
Shut down.
So they had no
Those
astronomy for
students come here.
The students who used to go to the Plaza Middle School Planetarium now come to TCC Planetarium. That keeps Leah Flax busy.
And was that when the 250 that we got, the other 250 came to us? How long ago did that just happened then?
Last
So
year.
that was last year.
Just
That
last
was,
year?
that was the first year we got the full funds because planetarium.
Okay, that brings us to the next item, which is
250.
the boardwalk astronomy. Boardwalk astronomy. Vice President Jeff Goldstein and I had a meeting with Mike Hilton and William of Beach Events this week, 2 days ago. And we locked in the dates for 5 boardwalk astronomy from May through September. And they said that they can only give us $250 per event. So we will not be getting $500 per event because their budget is cut and their business has expanded, but the city doesn't give them any more money. So we're gonna get the same amount we got for many years, $250 per event. And so I couldn't argue with that. One item we have added, and I think Jeff mentioned that, is they're gonna have an event at the beach for May the 4th, the Star Wars. And the talk was, can we support that? And we thought that would be a great idea. Put it on our calendar for May the 4th. Plus, if we can silk screen some shirts with our BBAA logo and a Star Wars image, they suggest that we sell those T-shirts at the beach, and it's another avenue of income for our scholarship fund.
Just be careful, see if the logo's copywritten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, so.
Good point.
Well,
Sorry, just the legal. side.
there's so much new business
Just
tied
important
up
to this,
together in this thing, because I was telling Jeff, we've been ordering from Cavalier Sportswear all of our t-shirts. Well, Robert and Kent told me that all those East Coast Star Party shirts, they screen print that themselves. Robert built a 4-station screen printer out of
Oh my gosh.
wood like 25 years ago or something. And he's been using it. And he's like, Sean, did you see that they sell one at Home Depot for $140? And he said, I looked at it, it was good. So I'm going to recommend that we get that and do our own shirts. Because it's not cost effective to make 25, 50 shirts at the boardwalk event. Or to churn out these boardwalk, the BBA events shirts, and he told me that him and Robert do it. It takes an afternoon and they make those shirts, and they make a lot of shirts. And when they go on those cruises or the eclipses, they make them. So if we want to invest in that machine, then we could probably make $10 a shirt.
You wanna make a motion?
I do want to make a motion.
Okay, well, where would you house this?
Yeah, who's gonna volunteer to do it?
I house it next to the rest of the stuff in my garage. I put the whole shelf of astronomy stuff that's in there.
Another thing, you already ran this past your wife and she's.
I would never have said that if I didn't know
Okay.
myself.
Just want to.
I mean,
Push
I
the
mean,
horse that.
we could set up a day where like 1 or 2 people come help me. We just knock out the shirts. Because the logo thing, we don't have to worry about it. I made the logos for the club. Every time we make something, I'm the one making it. So we're not like downloading something that's gonna be copyrighted.
I'll come help you.
There you go.
Okay, so
So,
we have been seconded, we buy a screen printing device for about $150 or so.
it's probably $200 when you include the ink and the frames and all that stuff.
Not to exceed 300, maybe?
Not to exceed 300.
Not to exceed 300, okay.
I'm just gonna add a word of caution to, even if we design a logo that is Star Wars and someone gets a picture of it, saying that they're wearing it, there's scrubbers on the internet that artists search for their work. And at Wavy, we have a huge legal team about using images and things. So just a little word of caution. I don't want the club to be.
Oh, I hear you.
It's because there's artists that search for their work, not knowing it, so.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, if you were doing a story of Wavy on our shirt.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded, we buy a screen printing device, is there any more discussion?
George, one thing, I think it should be talked about a little more with the officers, because, you know, yeah, the legal things and where's the thing gonna be stored, if it's gonna be Sean's garage or somewhere else. I mean, we've dealt with that kind of stuff as a club for a while, but.
Yeah, Jeff, I
To me,
mean, Sean, you can never move away.
No,
Never.
you'll be sorry when I do.
I know, you're talking about it, you can't go.
I mean, George, my point is, you know, we do this a number of times. We talk about some nice ideas, there's nothing wrong with it. And then we make a motion and vote on it. And then later you're thinking, what did we vote on and what are we getting into? I mean, that's my point. Because stuff like this should be thoroughly kind of discussed more than what we do sometimes in the past.
Okay.
You know,
I make the point that also that you want continuity in anything we do. Accounting's outsourced, taxes outsourced, insurance is outsourced. You know, having a kind of junior commercial venue there with printing our own shirts, having an order and having inventory, the materials, the supplier, the ink, the equipment, you're upwards of $300 now. What's that being applied? How many shirts is gonna be before you get your money back? And then Sean, we love you. God bless you for all the service you've done to the club, but what's the continuity when Sean's not here? And that's the concern. So in any case, that's the other point.
Yeah, I'd like to toss out, first a letter of question. Does anybody know how to use the silk screen?
Well,
YouTube.
There's one, okay, it's the instructions.
The second question is, if you do get a silk screen and decide to know how to use it, you don't just have to, you don't just have to make T-shirts that's, Star Wars, you can call it Stars, Sky Watch Wars or something like that. But you don't have to just make, T-shirts like that. You can make the BBAA T-shirts. You can make posters. You can, make out any kinds of other things. But my first question is, before you should think $300 into it, look into what it takes to do silkscreen. It's a little bit more complicated than some people think it is, especially if you're gonna go with multicolors.
Okay, was there another comment? Yes.
And another thing about the funding is that we are eligible for grants up to like 35,000 through the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. So that's also an option. Just to have them, just to get a grant to pay for it.
I have written several grants and been very successful. Not bragging, but I have. And that was for the school system.
And yeah,
I got 4 out of 5 grants that I
yeah,
I didn't hear
I'm
what
glad
Rich
to do
said.
that.
I've gotten grants for other
A
nonprofits.
motion that we establish a grant committee?
Yeah. And I think we should get it done before the May. I mean, by next meeting, we should have it in place.
Well, we can always, if you guys wanna do the shirts, you can decide on that, because we have to order those like now. Basically, I would have to start researching and making the logo of whatever we're gonna put on a T-shirt now, because May the 4th is right around the corner. And we would not be screen printing it then at this point, we would probably just have to order from Cavalier Sportswear, maybe, probably not even in, but like Vista Prints, where I got the East Coast Star Party shirts, because they have a pretty quick turnaround. That online place where we get our business cards and everything. So if you guys want to get t-shirts for that event, we need to vote today on that, because I'm gonna spend hours making a logo type thing to put on a t-shirt, and I have to do it immediately to make that shirt.
So how are we going to determine?
You guys can discuss the
Copyright.
screen printing, well, I'm not downloading anything, that's why I'm telling you it. You know it's not copyrighted because I'm making it,
Okay.
like I made everything else, you see what I'm saying?
Call the question. Call the question.
Okay, so,
You'd hold up on the screen print part, I'm saying if you want t-shirts for May the 4th though, you need to vote on that.
okay, we'll table the motion for buying a screen printing device. There's another discussion on the floor of motion perhaps that Sean go ahead and order some t-shirts.
Well, do you guys think it's a good
Do we-
idea?
do-
How many
do we-
t-shirts do you
Do
want?
we think it's a good idea to order t-shirts for May the 4th? And how many should we get? There's discussion on that.
How many people usually show to these events? I haven't been to the boardwalk.
It's
The
gonna be
boardwalk is, I don't know what they're planning, I mean, I wasn't there before for the May, do you guys know if they've done a May the 4th event there?
I don't remember.
Regent's graduation is that day, so there's gonna be a ton of people from out of town here. So it'll probably
It
be
usually
really crowded.
depends
I
on.
mean,
what time
typically at the
of
boardwalk
beach.
event, we get hundreds of
So
people.
if there's a lot of people at the beach, a lot of
You're gonna need somebody dedicated to selling the t-shirts if you really are gonna make
people.
t-shirts. And not knowing exactly how many. Should it be May the 4th specific, or should it be something that's May the 4th adjacent, but still more consumable at a different time of the year?
Just leave the year off, May the 4th.
There you go. I see Sean's expression like, damn it. this is
So I'm
getting way
thinking,
harder.
like,
Yeah, I know.
it's safer to
Sorry.
get less t-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, we paid probably $15-16 for the Easter Star Party shirts, and we ordered like 30. You know, so that's the price point. The more t-shirts you order, the cheaper each shirt is.
Where is that threshold at?
Hey, David?
What if it rains?
Yeah, I know.
That's another.
Then all of our money for the 4th t-shirts
Yeah, there's a lot of risk in the t-shirt.
gets piled in your.
Secondary storage.
Actually, I think this is Jeff's idea. They're going to his garage.
It seems to me if we're gonna make t-shirts for the boardwalk event, it should just be boardwalk event. We've got 6 of them, you know, and it doesn't have to be May the 4th. May the 4th thing would come on a Sunday or Saturday to 7 years. You know, so it's only gonna work one time. I think just a generic one that says, I mean, if I were attending the boardwalk event, I think it would be cool to get a t-shirt from it. It doesn't have to be May the 4th, it could be whatever day it is. And then we can order 100 shirts and we get a better price or
You
something.
can say summer 2024 or something.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
generic.
yeah, but it's- yeah, we need-
BBAA Boardwalk Astronomy Summer 2024. I was there.
Yeah.
It may need to be taken offline.
Yeah, let's table this motion and we'll discuss it online on Groups IO. And we'll come up with a decision the next week. Because we could talk for all night on this.
That sounds good.
We've got some good ideas here. Let's see, where are we now? That is the end of our new business.
Old. I still got old. I got old.
Oh, old business, go ahead.
We're all good.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
ID cards. That was new business before, but now it's old business. So if you don't have your ID card, please see me. And I don't want to mail them to you because it's expensive for the club. We went to a little bit of expense, maybe 40 cents a piece. Well, and the rest was my ink and stuff, but I don't care about that. But if you like, please see me and let me know if you don't have an ID card. I'll make sure I got Bill Rust on the list with somebody else too.
Bill's back here.
Yeah, I know, I got you on the list.
Joseph Brown.
Joseph Brown.
Now I joined about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, if you don't have, if he doesn't have her name, see him after we make sure.
got it.
Okay. Gee, we're running out of time. Are there any observing reports?
David.
It was Valentine's night. I was coming home from Home Depot. And I looked up in the sky and there was a fuzzy ball moving. The stars were dots, but this was a fuzzy ball. So I ran in, got my image stabilized binoculars. And what I saw was this fuzzy ball and little white dots were coming off the side of it. What it was, and eventually, I ran inside, tried to get a camera on it. I never got a camera, but it exploded into a flare. What it was a Starlink. Putting out Starlink satellites. It was a SpaceX launch. And it was going right overhead.
That's cool.
And I thought, yeah, we need to be informed of
It
this
was
stuff.
deploying that? I was
It was
burning up
totally-
re-entry.
It was totally cool.
Was that a deploying of satellite or was it burning up and re-entry?
Neither. It was, I think it was a separation.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Oh, you say it was the rocket going.
If you-
Stage, one of the
if you saw-
stages, yeah.
If you saw space weather, there was a picture a couple days ago of a spiral. Because when it was putting off satellites, because they're all going in separate orbits, it was sort of spinning. And so when it did this separation and a lot of gas came out, it made this beautiful spiral. I just saw a huge flare at the end and it was way over the ocean at that point.
It sounds like a cool rocket stage.
But if anybody knows how to find out when the Starlink schedule might have things
I've got
overhead.
an app that shows me the Starlinks that go over, but not when they're launched.
Where are
Randy
they
was here.
launched from?
Randy's got an inside. on NASA,
All
but
of
it's
them,
not his.
never anywhere else.
Maybe
How about
Vandenberg.
Wallace?
There's a website called
Don't
Space.
send me
Yeah.
SpaceX.
Filter by.
Yeah.
But they are doing commercial, aren't
Yeah, for
they?
one.
Launch are,
Yeah.
There are ways of finding out, and I'm not totally up on it, but Google Space Launch, maybe you'll find something on there. Speaking of Google,
Space launch.
Space Launch Now.
Space Launch Now, yeah. Just 1 month from tomorrow is the total solar eclipse. And last night at the Kempsville Rec Center, since it was raining and we couldn't go outside to look at the stars, I had an extended presentation and I covered some items about the eclipse. And I've got some items I want to cover tonight if I can. Just quickly, let me share the screen. How do I share the screen?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah. Are you too?
I was at the aquarium.
It's dark outside.
It was-
I have to go in 2 minutes.
Oh, it's foggy.
Thank you.
But it was
Yeah.
packed.
Yeah, let me get it split. Yeah.
How much you need?
10.
Okay,
Thank you.
this is, I'll go through this real quick. I don't want to run through the whole thing. This was a presentation I showed them of the eclipse of 2017, where I was at Sinking Fort Christian Church in Cerulean, Kentucky. There's the church. There's where we were. That's me giving a presentation. This was a brochure that the church put out. And I was the featured astronomer. And we talked a little bit about what eclipse, this was one of my favorite slides. The lunar eclipse is when the Earth comes between the sun and the moon. The solar eclipse is when the moon comes between the Earth and the sun. And an apocalypse is when the sun comes between the moon. I lost her.
That's good.
We went through the 2017 eclipse and some other information about how to look at eclipse, what safety, where I was, what it looks like during a total eclipse. This one even has some earth shine on it.
Is there, we got, anybody
Where
have
I was
10
in
for 20?
Kentucky. Sky that looked, you could actually see some of the stars and the planets during the eclipse when it was total. And this was the first time in 99 years that it had covered the United States.
Thank you, we got it. Appreciate it.
And then told why we have an eclipse. The moon is
400 times smaller than the sun in diameter, but it's also 400 times closer. So that's why it covers the sun. It's called a cosmic coincidence. This is when we're waiting for the eclipse to occur. That's my wife and my granddaughter waiting. And then each of those, I had 2 telescopes. My wife ran one telescope, my granddaughter ran the other telescope, and I talked. And this is during totality. And the question was, where will you be on Monday, 21 August 2017? Where will you be on Monday, April 8th? And this is the path of the total solar eclipse coming up next month. And the best place to be would be Mexico and Texas. I know Jeff is going to Waco, Texas.
I'll be there too.
Okay, and Jonathan Longman is too.
I'll be
And I'm
in
gonna take a
Indianapolis.
chance and go to Ohio. The weather is not necessarily going to be as good, but I'm hoping.
Where are you going to Ohio?
Newark, I'll show you here. It's a place called Norwalk, Ohio, just southwest of Cleveland. This is.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Oberlin.
Where?
Oberlin.
Oberlin, okay.
Yeah.
So this is close up of where I'll be, I hope to be anyway. But I also have options if I'll have my weather app out looking for clear skies. If it's cloudy here, I'll go down the road, try to find.
Fingers crossed.
Pardon me?
My fingers are crossed too.
Yeah, right. Lots of
Everybody.
fingers. So where will you be on Monday? Here in Tidewater, it'll be about 80% partial eclipse, so we'll need eclipse glasses. And I had this side, I said, did I mention we've got some for sale? So you can be prepared. And we sold about at least $50 worth of glasses last night at Kempsville Rec Center.
Oh, we made a pretty good profit on them at the last
Garden
Garden
Stars,
Stars.
yes, we did. And some resources, Eclipse resources, and I want to go to a couple of these websites. This is the end of the presentation. So let's go to this and copy, and I'll stop sharing the other screen. How do I do that? Stop sharing. Okay, and now I'm going to go to another. Share this screen. Share. Okay. Those of you who have ever been with me on Saturday, Sunday, or other events when we're up in the daytime, this is a sun funnel or a solar funnel. It's got an eyepiece. It's just an oil funnel that you get at Home Depot or AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts, and about a 20 or 25 millimeter eyepiece, and a couple hose clamps, and rear projection material that covers the opening of the sun funnel. And you put this in place of your eyepiece, and it projects the image of the sun here, so that more than one person at a time can see the sunspots. You can't see flares, but you can see the sunspots. Now, this is a website at the American Astronomical Society where you can build a sun funnel. So you can get the information on how it looks, how to make it. This is a 46-page PDF, so I'm not going to go all through pages, but it gives you a list of supplies that you need, more supplies, and then goes on to more detail. So I suggest if you want to make one of these, it's very inexpensive. You get a cheap eyepiece from Orion. You might even have an extra one lying around in your eyepiece box at home. The only expense is the funnel, the hose clamps, and the rear projection material, and I have just ordered some new projection material because you see mine is so old it's ripping. So if you need to know, they've got I think suggestions where you can order that material. So that's a good solar Eclipse, yeah, solar eclipse project that you could do, and it'd be helpful for not just the eclipse, but for now on. You can use it for years. Been using this thing for 10 or 15 years. Okay, so that, stop sharing that. Let's go to another one.
Patrick's got a question.
Not a question.
Question, yes.
I don't have a question. I was just gonna say, if you go to the I think it's the greatamericaneclipse.com, you can pick on whatever state you're gonna be in, and it's got a flyover of the path of totality, so you can kind of look where the cities are.
If you couldn't hear that, it's greatamericaneclipse.com. It shows what cities, where the eclipse is going total.
It's got one clip that goes across the entire United States, and then it's got by state,
Size of
so that if you're going to,
pencil,
like I'm going to go probably to PA,
yeah,
and you
it
can
was like
see
that.
where, what cities are really in path of totality, and how long roughly they're
Yeah.
gonna be. that kind of stuff.
But is it gonna show you cloud cover?
That's another site. That somebody put out, we put that one, somebody put that in Bruce.
That's the one I'm looking at.
We got an email.
I know, I saw that. That was kind of.
60% out there.
Yeah, 50 and 60%.
Here's another screen. Here's another screen. NASA map details, similar to what Patrick was talking about. Shows where the eclipse is and how to read the map, so forth. So this, if you want to find this, just look up science.nasa.gov, solar system, so forth. Dave, you got a question?
What size aperture scope do you need for that?
I don't think the aperture makes a difference. Well,
You don't want to melt it.
What
He uses a short tube.
Probably, you probably wouldn't want a long focal length telescope, because it makes it such a small field of view. I use my 80mm refractor, but you could use your 8-inch Dob or your 10-inch Dob, and this would work fine. I wouldn't use it with an SCT. It's probably too.
I would worry about the amount of heat and power that an 8-inch Dob.
I put a piece of aluminum foil over the the aperture, the main
Stop it
lens,
down.
and then put a little hole in it.
Yeah, you can use just a hole in the Dob, okay. Another question.
This isn't a question, it's a vignette about something that happened several years ago when we were at the library doing a solar daytime observation. Everybody had a great time. There was one fellow that showed up with his mom and brother and sister. The kid was autistic. So he came over, messed around with the scope, he moved it and jiggled it, and I had to realign it back where it was supposed to be. So this went on for about a half an hour. And I was doing this, and finally I looked around behind me. It was windy that day, and we put eyepieces on top of the literature so it wouldn't blow away. And he had grabbed one of these and was looking at the side. And I yelled at him. And he got so mad that he got the huff and left. I said, brother, that's to be blind.
There's a new way to balance.
So I just want to let you know that that might happen. So when you're out there and you have eyepieces laying around or telescopes that are unmanned or not protected, watch it.
Good point, Bill, because one time before I had the sun funnel, I was using my refractor to project the image on a white cardboard at the Virginia Beach Public Library, Central Library. And I'm there standing, and this little boy comes, goes like this. I grabbed him before he looked through the telescope. And I even had a sign there, be careful.
Yeah.
But you got to keep your eyes open, be totally on the alert all the time.
Hey, George, you
Yes.
probably want to put together some lessons learned from different groups that are going to be around so that they're ready to, that they prepare for these scenarios. Because when you get 1,000 people trying to, in a line, because I was in the public library line, going through the library that day, it's hard to keep track of all that. Because I think the groups that were there had cones and ropes that were segmenting things off.
You talk about in 2017?
Yeah.
When it was Vincent.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you have people stations at different places, you probably need to have like a 101 so that somebody doesn't accidentally get hurt.
Definitely want to be aware of little kids, because I know George and I and a couple other people, I think Jeff was there at the Easter egg drop in Norfolk, remember?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And one little boy, in like 15 seconds, grabbed all of our telescopes.
Threw them all
And
out.
daylight, I mean, he was so quick, we were stunned, we just watched it happen, and that's how quick, and we all are experienced, so you gotta watch those little kids, especially when you're looking at the sun.
There was hundreds of kids there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
This little kid ran, like he climbed up on my knob and almost fell over on me.
Oh my
He
God.
grabbed two of the club telescopes, the PST almost knocked it over, grabbed George's telescope, all within like 15 seconds. It was just like boom, 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 boom.
And his parents were where?
I didn't even never seen his parents. Did he ran?
Yeah.
Give us the minutes, right? George, some clarification, when you image with your funnel, do you have open aperture, full aperture open normally? on your
Yes,
telescope?
yes.
I was gonna say, because that's a huge amount of energy.
No, I don't, I
This
use
is a
this with my
small
refractor,
He's using an 80 mil
like
refractor.
80 millimeter refractor.
Okay, that's
I
still,
don't use this with my Dob, although I could, but if I did, I would use the
Okay.
aperture with a hole in it, only
Yeah.
lets a
I mean,
portion of it.
that's still quite a bit of energy going on your eyepiece, so it's being magnified down. You could probably put up something the size of a, half-inch hole or whatever.
I do have that, I've got the cap on my refractor, I can take the middle piece out.
There you go. Yeah. So as a public safety announcement, because this is critical, and you can literally, the old days, they would sell telescopes with welder glass eyepieces. All right, and I remember as a child, young lad, I got one, and I used to look at the sunspots, and I was all excited, and the darn thing cracked, and thank God I was not clear, I was coming up on it and it cracked. So, two things, when we're out there, we're knowing, part of our astronomy club, if you see someone with an eyepiece or any kind of magnification or binoculars or even a fully open aperture telescope, the heat can build up so fast and it's literally instantaneous on the retina if it hits your eye. So it's the worst part of astronomy that can literally permanently blind you with a less than a millisecond exposure with that focus thing. So, if you see something, say something and don't let anybody do that. And the safest way is to have a solar filter on top of it, which you can still project. Because any amount of that solar energy coming down, being focused down through an eyepiece and projecting, you're really baking the heck out of the coatings and the glues and all the adhesive that's happening in all eyepieces. So I really recommend that you stop it down if you're gonna leave it open, or just put on a solar filter. The solar filter material is kind of like a Mylar looking stuff. And we've had club meetings here that I think Sean, did you have one or somebody had one where we made the solar filter, they slide on. And the same note is, make sure it's attached. There you go. And make sure they slide on attached very well, because if it gets knocked off and you're not paying attention, you literally can cook your scope. I mean, you'll burn up your telescope very, very quickly, especially any size reflector whatsoever in a matter of a few seconds. You literally, you have a solar torch.
And with it, yeah, one fellow was observing the sun, he had his telescope all set up, but he forgot to do his finder.
The same thing, cover your finder, for God's sakes, yes, lower that up as well.
Yes.
For the funnel, you need a good diagonal and make sure your diagonal will handle the heat. So you
Just stop it down.
And it mentions in the write-up for the solar funnel what type of diagonal you need.
You mentioned that the one you made, you said it was,
I stopped it down.
you stopped it down to the size of an eraser of a pencil.
A quarter of an inch.
That's all you need. That's all you
It
need.
didn't take much. And I have a picture of it, beautiful image of the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to share.
Hey, George, do we have a Sunday coming up pretty soon that?
Yeah, it's at the end of this month, I believe.
Would it be good to like have like a good session, talk about these things and show those kind
Our
of.
next Saturday, Sunday is the 30th of this month, 30th of March.
Would it be good to have like a discussion of this at the Sunday so people could bring their stuff, set it up, just in preparation?
Does anyone need a solar filter? Because we did it there.
Yep.
Anybody?
I got one for an ETX 125, and I'm gonna be in Minneapolis. So.
Speaking of solar filters, Bob Buren 3D printed these for the Sea-Star people. And this is the good Beta Planetarium material.
One of the best.
And I'm giving one to Jeff tonight over here. So there's a few more. If you need one, let me know.
Sean, is that designed to go in a hole to an F stopping it down, or is that going on a kind of
This
like
goes
an
on
eyepiece finder?
this looks just like the Sea-Star solar filter that came with it, except it's a Beta Planetarium material.
I took a couple of, I sent it every jet we took and it turned out bad.
It is better.
Yes.
Yeah. So you put it, you make a cover, a blackout cover, and then you cut a hole for just that on your telescope.
No, this fits the whole aperture. That's how big it is. On the end of the C-star.
Oh, the C star, but you can take that and actually put that in place and f-stop your
I guess you
telescope down.
could, yeah,
Yeah.
you could.
Or use it for binoculars.
Because you don't, even a large, you can't just put Mylar across an 8-inch or a 10-inch. It's just too much energy.
Well, my 10-inch, I stopped it down.
Yeah.
And then in between the veins of the secondary, so
Yep.
that way you don't get that central obstruction of the secondary mirror. It makes a better image of the sun. You don't,
Exactly.
it's plenty of light.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Just stop down your scope and do something.
Hey, Rich, can you still see us and hear us? I've lost.
Again, yeah,
I can't figure out how to get back onto Zoom.
you're on.
Yeah, the Zoom button, that's it.
Well, yeah, I hit the Zoom button.
Click on Richard.
Click on Richard, click on Richard.
Click on Richard.
Hang on, let me get through this.
No, on the right side.
Click on Richard.
Rich Roberts.
I know, but this is.
Put that on the desktop.
Put the cursor over there and it's got a link to it.
On the
See,
bottom right.
there it is, right side.
Bottom, right there.
Oh, there we are, okay, real quick, we only have 2 minutes left. I want to run through this. Let's see, I think, let's see how long this is. Well, this is 22 minutes long, but I don't think we have to go through the whole thing. Let's just talk, watch this.
What is it?
And you're like, yeah, I hear people talking about that. But then you experience it and you're like, okay, I'm a believer. I'm in. I'm all in on this. That's where I'm at with total solar eclipses. Back in 2017, I met a guy here locally. His name is Dr. Gordon Telephant. He's a surgeon. And he just told me, he's like, dude, you're going to fall in love with eclipses. And I was like, maybe. I don't know. I've heard they're cool. And then I just went all in. I was like, okay, I trust this guy. What's the worst that can happen? I look like an idiot on the internet to millions of people. So I did it. I went out to Wyoming in 2017. I saw a total solar eclipse for the first time, and it melted my brain. I did not understand what I was seeing. In fact, all the stuff I had prepared to do, I just forgot how to do it. It was amazing. Guys,
take your glasses off.
Stars. Oh my God, it's overhead sunset. And I want you to experience that as well. I was at a gathering the other night with a bunch of friends, and someone walks up to me and they're like, hey, Destin, this eclipse thing, right? Do I really need to do this? And my answer is yes, you must. Because once you see it.
It was one of the most amazing and emotional experiences I've ever had, other than seeing my own children being born. I still talk about it to this day. Well, like I am now. It changed my whole perception. It made me really want to see more of things like that. The fact that it happens on the earth for free and you can just go see it, it's amazing.
As soon as it started getting darker, you could hear the insects changing. So there were all these cicadas that were calling. And then as the eclipse started happening, the cicada sound faded out and the cricket sound faded in. And then it went in the reverse. And that blew my mind. I wasn't expecting that.
I've only seen a total solar eclipse once in my life, and it was awesome in the literal meaning of the term, awe. Awful, like scary, like terrifying. Because of the immensities of the astronomical bodies involved, I felt so tiny. And that morning when I woke up knowing that it was going to happen in just a matter of hours, I became very scared. I don't know exactly why, but I think it had something to do with knowing that it was such a big event involving such big things that were so vital to our lives, and also that I could not stop it. It was inevitable. It was going to happen. I could not push a pause button and make it wait for when I was ready. I love it.
2024, this is your biggest opportunity if you live in the United States or in northern parts of Mexico to see a total solar eclipse. And I don't want you to miss it because I love you and I want you to love eclipses. That's where I'm at. The actual moment is called totality. That's when the disk of the moon obscures or occludes the disk of the sun, and all kinds of things happen right there in that moment. And it's the only time you can see it. Like you can see the mountains of the moon along the perimeter of the sun because you can see the jagged edges. That's called Bailey's beads. You can see what's called a diamond ring, the ejecta around the sun, you can see the corona. It's awesome. And you can only see it if you are right there in the path of totality. You have to physically be on this strip of land that goes all the way across the country. If you're 5 miles outside of that land, it doesn't work. The math doesn't work out so that you can see the total solar eclipse.
We were just outside the path of totality, and I set up cameras all over the farm to see how my animals would react to the solar eclipse. And they stood there, it got dark, it got cold, it got light, it got warm again, and they just kept eating. What
It work. If you can make a trip with someone you love, go to the path of totality and see this total solar eclipse, because it's amazing. There's like tens of millions of people that are going to watch this event. So there's articles all over the internet about, oh, the animals are going to do weird things, or the weather might do this. I'm going to like take some time and we're going to slowly walk through, and I'm going to ask all the dumb questions of Dr. Templeton, who literally wrote a book about this moment, by the way. He spent his spare time in between the last eclipse and this one writing this book specifically for this moment. So we're going to learn about everything called the partial phase phenomena. Now that's the time leading up to the eclipse and immediately after eclipse. There's really neat science stuff that happens when you're out there like looking at the eclipse and just like basking in the glory of the moment. You're going to know all the other stuff to look for as well. And you're going to have like the cheat code. You're going to enjoy it on a different level. So let's do this. Let's go get smarter every day and check out all these neat phenomena with Dr. Gordon Telpin, and let's learn about the partial phase phenomena for the total solar eclipse. Do you ever think to yourself, maybe this is a little too much?
I do.
And what is your answer to that?
I still do it. As long as my wife will tolerate it, I do it.
Gordon, you have created a series of, what would you call these, stations?
Yeah, they're science stations about teaching the science of the partial phase phenomena. Because an eclipse is way more interesting than just totality. Of course, totality is fascinating, it's beautiful. But there's a lot of stuff you can appreciate and enjoy about the science of what's happening with the moon blocking the sun physically during that hour and a half time between C1 and C2, first contact and second contact.
Okay, so to be clear, Gordon loves eclipses so much that you invested a lot of your own money to create this. It's an app called Solar Eclipse Timer. I get nothing for telling you this. My friend Gordon made this, and I've used it at every eclipse I've watched. It's awesome. Basically, you go to a location, you pull out your phone, you hit the GPS location, and it does all the math for you. And your voice, it's actually your voice, which is endearing, your voice will tell me how to watch the eclipse. It'll say,
it'll count down to the contact times for the photographer.
What's a contact time?
So when the moon first takes that first bite out of the sun, that's first contact, C1. Totality starts when the moon obscures the sun completely, that's second contact, C2. When the moon moves off on the other side and the photosphere reappears, that's C3, third contact. And when the moon moves completely off, that's the end of the eclipse, that's fourth.
Okay, so to be clear, these science stations that we're talking about, the totality is just between C2 and C3, but all this stuff happens during the partial phase phenomenon between C1 and C2 and between C3 and C4.
So the first station is temperature monitoring. I've monitored and data logged temperature at all my eclipses, but this time, because I can bring a lot of equipment and drive into Texas, I wanted to do more. So I have a 4-station temperature data logging tower here.
Okay.
What we're trying to do here is document a mini inversion layer.
So these are temperature loggers.
Those are temperature loggers.
And you have 3 on the pole
and 1 on the ground covered by some soil.
Okay.
And that is being heated by the sun right now. And these others have free air circulation around them, so they're monitoring the air temperature. The ground sensor will decrease in temperature during the partial phases before the 20-foot sensor decreases.
So basically, people that are at the event, they'll start feeling the temperature change.
That's right.
We just know it's not happening the same all the way up.
That's exactly right.
All right, let's go to the second station here, Gordon.
So the second station is the concept of pinhole projection of the crescents. So when you hold up something and it's a dot, that the light from the sun goes through those dots, but it crosses. So light from the top of the sun crosses through the hole and it goes to the bottom, and light from the bottom crosses through the hole and goes to the top, and right to left crosses. So right now, we're only seeing round circles because the sun is.
You made one for me.
I did. It's runner every day. So we're seeing round circles, but during the partial phases, these will turn into crescents.
Now we're seeing round circles right now because we're not in a total solar eclipse right now. Or
Right,
even
we're not in the
partial.
partial phases. So these will turn to crescents during the partial phases. And the interesting thing is, before totality, the little banana crescent will be one direction, and after totality, it'll flip. Get some paper and punch holes in it, do your name or do the date, whatever you want to do. Bring a colander to the eclipse.
Yeah.
Kitchen utensils are great.
Can you pull it away from the thing more, the further away?
Well, the more you pull it away, you see it gets out of focus. And a little bit of that has to do with the thickness of what you're using. That's why it's good to use thin paper.
Or like a cheese grater.
Or a cheese grater, so a cheese grater will do it.
So on eclipse day, people should pack a colander.
Exactly. So the other thing for pinhole projection is to make a pinhole projection shoebox.
Oh, it's actually a pinhole.
It's a pinhole in tinfoil and a little viewing box in the back and a white card on the bottom. So when you get it lined up, the little crescent phase will be projected in the back of the box, and it's a safe way to watch the partial phases because it can't hurt your eyes.
What about glasses? Do people need to wear glasses?
So everybody has to go to the eclipse with certified solar eclipse glasses. Start to order them now because they're going to get harder to find. And you wear these during all the partial phases, and then you take them off during totality. It's the only time it's safe to take the glasses off.
I've heard of people using like
So-
welding glasses and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
So welding glasses are not certified because they don't block the right amount of infrared and ultraviolet light. So these are certified to block the right amount for viewing. It's got to be ISO 12312-2.
So make sure that everybody with you has the correct glasses. You want to be safe. Don't look directly at the partial phase eclipse. That could actually injure you, but you can take the glasses off during totality.
You have to take them off during totality, yes.
Okay, sounds good. What's our next station?
So this is sharp and fuzzy shadows. If you take something that's 90 degrees apart like this, when you rotate this during the eclipse, the one that gets sharp is going to be in line with the crescent. The one that is staying perpendicular to the crescent, behaving like an extended source of light, that's going to be fuzzy. Let's say this is the sharp edge. That's going to be the sharp edge. That's going to be fuzzy, and that's going to be fuzzy, and this will be sharp. All the parallel sides will be sharp, and all the parallel sides will be fuzzy.
So if I'm watching the eclipse on eclipse day, when people say my shadows look weird, that's what's happening.
That's what's happening. They may not know it, but now they'll know it.
What do you have over here?
So we're going to monitor the wind at this eclipse. You'll see a lot of articles on the internet before the eclipse that says the weather changed during the eclipse. Well, there are a lot of thermodynamic effects during the eclipse, but it doesn't really change the weather. But there is a very hard partial phase phenomenon to witness, and that's an eclipse breeze. The theory behind it is
eclipse breeze.
An eclipse breeze.
Okay.
If you have calm conditions at your observing site, and there are some mountains or hills in the distance, but relatively close, and they are in the direction of umbra approach, the ground there will cool before your ground at your observing site, just like we did at the temperature tower. And that cool air in those valleys will coalesce, roll down the valleys, and you'll feel it as a cool breeze coming from the direction of umbra approach.
As the cooler air is more dense,
Right.
it's going to roll downhill.
That's right.
And that's what you're going to try to capture here?
That's right. So our observing site has a nice flat area, and it also has some hills to the east and the south. And so I'm going to have this pointing. This is a data logger. We'll have it pointing to those hills, and we'll see if we have calm conditions, if we can pick up a subtle eclipse breeze. Remember, it's subtle.
Yeah.
So this is a station that talks about the creation and dissipation of convective clouds. And they're created by the ground being warmed by the sun and creating moisture that rises as eddies. And these red arrows represent warm, moist eddies rising. And when that moisture hits the boundary layer, it condenses and it makes those fluffy clouds. But they are reliant on that continued energy of the sun and the continued supply of moisture. So the eclipse is going to shut off that energy and shut off that moisture. And those little fluffy convective clouds can actually dissipate before totality. Within 10 or 15 minutes before totality, there'll be these white puffy clouds in the sky and they'll start to go away.
Wow, not all clouds will go away, to be clear, so don't.
Right.
Yeah, disclaimer, if you're in a place with clouds, like big clouds on eclipse day, get in your car, go down the path one way or the other, try to get away from the clouds, right?
Big, thick gray rain clouds are not reliant on this kind of energy. They're more of a weather front type clouds, and they won't have time to dissipate because of the decrease in the thermals.
Okay, there's about 10 minutes more to this video. It's 9 o'clock now. You want to watch it? You have to go. You have to go, you can go now, but hope you can play the rest of another 9-10 minutes. Okay?
I don't know what to say about this, other than this is definitely the cutest station here. What is? What is this? Hold on, we're talking.
So, this is the.
Before we continue, we got a door prize. The door prize tonight is a very beautiful calendar, NASA calendar with all these pictures and an explanation of what that picture is. So let's have our drawing for the door prize. Did everybody get a red ticket? Yeah. Okay, did everybody get their ticket stub put in the hat? I hope so. I hope so. All right, Mr. Vice President, pull one out. All right, the winning ticket is number 3671794. Hey. If you want to see the rest of this, I'll let it run for another 9 minutes.
Drawing is next close.